Hello, my fellow Trekkies and just viewers. Welcome back to Total War. Listen to me. Welcome back to Star Trek Infinite. Yeah, a little bit of habit when you've been recording videos for over 13 years. But yeah, Star Trek Infinite. I wanted to give the Romulan Star Empire a chance, and here I am. I'm quite a ways into my playthrough as the Romulan Star Empire, and I thought it might be helpful for me to share because I actually went looking. I searched on YouTube for tips on this game for the Romulans. I did see some early playthroughs that people had, but there's been a patch since then, and it changed some things. But I still didn't get a lot of specific tips. So I wanted to talk about my experience getting the game going as the Romulan Star Empire, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, where I'm at now, and then just maybe some other little tips and things that I've learned about the game. So if you're looking to get into this game, if the best perspective that this would come to you from is if you are someone who's really not played a lot of Paradox games, because I have not played a lot of them. I've never played Stellaris, so think of it as like some advice from a newcomer who came in, and I've learned a few things. I'm not a master of it, but hopefully it will be helpful to some people, and then hopefully just entertaining for folks who haven't seen the game before. Now, I have been working really hard to get here. I played, I think, 3 different playthroughs with the Romulans. One of them, the first one I did, resulted in me being absolutely crushed by the Klingons. They were not happy about what we did to them at Kittimer, and they attacked me early in the game. They overwhelmed me. My ships were just no match for them, and I got absolutely crushed. The Romulan ships early in the game did not seem to do well against their opponents. And as far as ships go, I'll go ahead and go to the ship designer. I don't know what they call these ship classes, but I'm assuming that this is like the light class or whatever you want to call it. Each faction has the equivalent, and it's like this little bird of prey type thing, like an old school Romulan bird of prey here, Ferax. It's very weak. There's very limited stuff you can do with it. I do find that power-wise, the Romulans do struggle for power. I need to do more research and open up better reactors for my ships. But of course, technology is random, and so you kind of just get what you get. You kind of just gotta take whatever the game gives you and do your best with it. But yeah, let's go back to the ship design real quick. I've got it playing in the background. We got a silent alarm going off at our capital here. Let's see. What I could do. I thought I could do some. Is there more than one spy there? Maybe that's why that happened. Yeah, there's more than one spy. Alright, counter-espionage. Anyway, so, yeah, let's talk a little bit about the ships still. So, that was the light ship. Eventually, I was able to get into the next tier ship, which was the Vendus class, which was kind of like a little miniature warbird. Definitely a lot better. Still not, like, amazing. Like, as far as hull points go, it seems like my hull points are pretty low compared to, like, Klingons and Cardassians. But, you know, that's just the way it felt. And then we got into the Valdor class ships here. Very cool looking ships. And this, I guess, is like the next tier up. I don't know what they call it as far as tiers go, but like the tier 3. These ships were pretty good. You can see now that we got a cloaking device, and I'm actually not sure why the auto build is putting 2 cloaking devices. I'm not really sure of that. I have been letting the auto build do some of the designs. You can certainly do your own designs, and it's kind of fun actually because you can kind of pick the weapons that go in the slots, but you have to manage the power usage here. You also have to deal with whatever size slots you have, like these are large, medium, so on and so forth. So it's interesting. And then I did ultimately open up the Dideritix class, which is kind of the iconic one from TNG, and this is a heavy cruiser here. But you'll notice here that as far as power usage goes, I'm using this insane thing here that has 500 power usage. It does a ton of damage, but it also kind of uses up everything I got. I may redo this design a little bit. But yeah, so some of these things, it feels like you may be struggling for power, but I think it's because I still need to like do research to get larger reactors and stuff, which will help me be able to have more power. But anyway, so as far as ships go, it took me a very long time to get to the Dideritix class, and things were dicey. So, like I said, I got killed by the Klingons in the first run. So I came back the next runs, and one of the first things that I did was got ships a little quicker, The nice thing with the Romulans is you don't really rely on dilithium to keep any of your ships going. You use these artificial singularities, and the artificial singularities are developed from a building. You can build one in each colony, and it's this advanced protostar collapser. And you're going to need these singularities. They're required to build your ships, and I believe they also have some maintenance that requires it. And you'll need a lot of alloys. So I worked hard to get minerals. I then converted the minerals to alloys using buildings again at my colonies. There's like a forge building or something you can build at the colonies. I'll see if I have one here. I do not, but you can build a forge building. You can see this colony is actually set up for a ton of mining right here. So we've been getting a ton of minerals, and now I'm just trying to convert them over into alloys to get the ships. You need a lot of alloys, and you need these singularities. Singularities are pretty easy. You get your colonies, you build the protostar collapsers, it's not that bad. You can get ships, and so I feel like you can upkeep a pretty good number of ships as the Romulans, and you're going to need them. And the reason being is that I find that the Cardassian ships and the Klingon ships tend to have a whole lot more hull, and you will be fighting these guys, and you'll probably be fighting them a lot. I have had, in this playthrough, probably 5 or 6 huge wars with the Cardassians, and one of them, the Cardassians pulled the Klingons into it. I was literally fighting on both fronts. It was absolutely insane. Huge wars. And now I can hold my ground against them pretty well. And when I have the ships that I do now with the cloaking devices, they don't immediately see my fleets, and they end up taking a ton of damage early on because I get first shots. So I can hold off the Cardassian and Klingon ships pretty easily. It hasn't been too much of a problem, and I have been able to move. I was in dead last. I was in 4th place. A few moments ago, I was actually in 1st place. Now the Federation has pulled back ahead of me, so I feel like I'm clawing my way along. I mean, we were in dead last, like under 20%. We have built ourselves up quite a lot over the last little while and found some success. So yeah, things that I've learned that helped me along the way. Like I said, early on, my research, I paid close attention on research to get upgrades for my ships. I needed more firepower, and I needed better ships. So yes, I did research on things that would help me with more research, or other things that would help me, like, you know, getting buildings that could help me produce more energy credits and stuff like that. Those are all important, but whenever I saw like cutting beam upgrades or hull damage type weapons, hull damage specifically because the Cardassians and Klingons come with those large, like, tough hulls, so I needed weapons that did a lot of hull damage, and so I focused my research on them. I focused on getting those, and it really did save me ultimately in the big assaults that were led against me by the Cardassians and the Klingons. So I can't recommend that enough. You will get the opportunity to get some unique admirals in place, which is pretty fun. I've got Tomalak and Koval. I've got Sella here, who is a special from one of the shows, like looked like Natasha Yar. So I've gotten some cool characters from the show. A couple of them have died, I think, along the way. But in any case, I like the Romulans. They live a long time, too, which means that you get to keep them in positions of leadership because they're ultimately kind of just like Vulcans. So yeah, it's pretty neat. That worked well for me to get those fleets out there and just fight. And then in the meantime, of course, I was saving my influence. And I'll just walk through this real quick. The influence, of course, it kind of just comes naturally. You can get more of it later on if you build the right buildings, but early on, you kind of just get a set amount of it, like 2 a month or something. And you got to save it, and I used it to basically build my empire into new systems, and then I used some diplomacy. I absorbed one of these puppet states over here. I could absorb these guys, but I was kind of tinkering with them, using them for like a war puppet. So I've been declaring war on these guys a lot just to kind of practice, you know, how to fight wars, how to win wars, how to make claims, and I'll go through some of that. But yeah, basically you need to expand yourself out.
We have lost a great
I have done a
mind.
few of the mission. By the way, it says that a lot. That's still a bug in the game. It says we've lost a great military mind all the time. And that's actually someone just leveling up. So that's a bug that still needs to be fixed. But in any case, if you go to the mission tree, sorry, my bad. Right here. I have completed some of their missions.
Research
the Romulan
finalized.
missions aren't quite as exciting as the Federation missions, because in the
Our
Federation
technological
missions,
genius
we were getting
amazes
to unlock
even
the
us.
Enterprise, the crew of the Enterprise, all the most iconic stuff from the show. It was super fun. And so I see there a greater protostar collapser, advanced research complexes. Let's do actually the superiors thing there. So yeah, it's not quite as fun in the mission tree. So I mean, you can do it if you want. Like, it's not bad. The mission tree, some of them make a lot of sense. Like, you build military bases early on, which is actually not bad either, because the military officers, you need them for the ships, and the jobs that they perform are useful and stuff like that. Event horizons is pretty easy to get, and it actually reduces your ship upkeep and your build speed, which is also good. So this one you can get by just building more of those protostar collapsers. I mean, the first one you kind of just build like military bases, recruit some spies, very basic stuff. I'm not going to get into this tree over here because a little bit of spoilers in that one, so I'll stay away from that one. But in any case, yeah, you can keep going on these. Like, one of these trees is kind of like reunifying with Vulcan, and the other one is like a conquest type of thing. So like, ultimately, if you want to go on these trees, try and go, conquer Vulcan back and kind of reunite forcefully with them, you can. I actually haven't fought any wars against the Federation at this point. So anyway, that's kind of the strategy I took. Build more systems, manipulate the smaller empires around you. The Romulans don't absorb people exactly the same way that the Federation does, but you can still do it through this diplomacy. It's this puppet state conversion process. Once you start that, it's a long, time. You use one of your envoys. I'll just give you an example of it. Like, I'll go over here to the Malkorians.
I'm not likely to change.
And I'll start the puppet state conversion process with them and send an envoy out. And you'll see here the progress that it'll make. And there's 3 objectives left. We're just going to have to kind of wait and see whether or not we can get there. They're a long ways off. But you can do that. It turns them into a puppet state at first, which I think is where they have to share some resources and kind of do what you want them to. And then if you hold them there long enough, you usually get an event that makes it possible for you to completely assimilate them. You see, like right here, our assimilation failed with the Malkorian Republic, so it's not working right now. We probably need to improve our relationship with them through some missions and some other stuff, which we can do.
Amazes even us.
But in any case, yeah. It's, right now I'm just trying to rush through as much research as I can. If I go look at the victory, for me to catch back up to the Federation, if you look at technology, I'm actually in the lead by a pretty good margin, which against the Federation is impressive. It's the economic strength of the Federation that's absolutely crushing me right now. But we are doing pretty good otherwise. So in any case, that's kind of what's gone on to this point, what's worked for me. And now that I have all the ships I do and the economy I do, it's fairly easy for me to keep myself safe. I do want to share something that helped me out too, that I just didn't know until later into the game, because I don't play a lot of these Paradox games. I've learned a little bit more about populations. I'm going to pause the game real quick and talk you through some of this for folks who may not know it. So if you want to understand populations, populations are essentially the people who live on your planet. And in these games, pops or populations, you have, like, if you want to see the number you have, I believe it's right here. Yeah, so there's 36 pops on this planet, or people in this case, that represent the larger population as if it were a real planet. It even shows you the breakdown of the different species. Each species kind of has like ups and downs to them. And so that's all it really means when it shows you species. But these pops can perform certain roles. And if we take a look, for instance, at the population of this planet, I'll try and show this. No, let's show it on a different view. Let's go to, like, oh, sorry. No, I know where to look at it. We're going to go into, crap, I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. Resettlement is a good way to look at it. So here's all my populations. Resettlement is a way that you can move them between planets, because, like, for instance, I have 5 unemployed pops right now, and unemployed pops basically just sit around and rob the local gas station. It's not what you want. You need to get these folks employed and put them to use somewhere. But there's only certain jobs that certain people can perform. And if you look here, you'll notice that there's kind of like this silver colored job. This is like mid-tier. These people are in like the middle of society. This bronze looking color here, these people are on the lower rungs of society. But like a worker can be accomplished by basically anybody. They don't have to be a higher rung on society, like a specialist, which I believe is what these folks are. Then you have like a ruling class that's like the upper echelons of society. So down here, the imperial kin, the science director, the senator. these just kind of indicate the different jobs. And depending on the buildings you build or the districts you build, you need certain types of populations to fill the job there. And you'll notice again, like look at this triangle. This gold triangle means that these people are the top piece of society. These ones are in kind of the middle. And these Vulcans, for instance, they're kind of on the lower rungs of society. Now, it doesn't show that little thing on all these pops, and I think it's because they kind of just got pulled in. There's like this ball and chain here. I can't get a tooltip on it, but I think it's just folks have kind of gotten sucked into your empire, or they fled another empire and ended up here. So typically speaking, they're just going to be kind of lower rung stuff, but sometimes they can fill specialist jobs. I just tinker with it. But once you get a lot of energy, you can actually kind of move these populations between planets. And again, it took me a long time to figure this out, but let's say that, for instance, like right now, I'm running low on food, and I need to have better food production. Well, you can produce food from buildings. It's one way to do it. So you could build a building that's going to help. Another way you could do it is with agriculture districts. If you look here, whenever you build an agriculture district, it adds to the housing capability of the planet, but it also gives you 2 farmer jobs, and each one of those gives you a base production of 17 food. I mean, that would be pretty good because I'm in the negative a little bit right now on food. So let's say here, for instance, I do have districts available. These little blank squares right here show you how many districts you can build. And this number right here, the 14, is the size of the planet and basically tells me how many total districts I can build. So yeah, we have 5 districts left that can be built. So I'm going to go ahead and build an agriculture district. It takes a lot of minerals to do it. Early in the game, it is a painful amount of minerals. Later in the game, it's not near so bad. So let's, we don't need to replace it. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to build a mining district. I'm going to need not a mining district, my bad. We're going to build an agriculture district. In fact, I'm going to build a couple of them, just because I can here. Even though this isn't particularly a great agriculture planet, this should work. So I'm going to build these districts. It's going to take 60 days. I'm going to go ahead and hit play here, and while that's being built, we're going to open the planet management screen, and I'm going to show you some good stuff here. Planet management, you can get a quicker look at all your planets, and you can see things pretty quickly. Like this little red here, this is people who are unemployed. This little suitcase, if it has a number on it, means that there are jobs available that need people to fill them. So like, for instance, Belarus 9 here has 6 jobs available. Well, let's go take a look at those jobs just real quick. If I scroll out, I'm trying to remember where that place is at. It's up here. All right, so we're going to go to Belarus 9. I'm going to mouse over the jobs. I need, if you look down there in the bottom, worker jobs, there's 4 clerk jobs open because right now we have 3 of 7. And those are easy to fill because basically anybody can fill them. So I'm going to hit resettlement. And I'm basically going to start pulling unemployed people. So like there's one right here on Kittimer, these Tellarites. I'm going to pull them over for those worker jobs. And you can see there it didn't turn red when it came over here, so they went straight to work, and they actually went to work as a supervising official. Okay, great, we filled a job here. We have more jobs that need to be filled. So let's go to another planet, like an Ephrat 2 here has a lot of unemployed folks on it, so let's start pulling some of them, like these Pelions. That one went to work right there as a technician. Pull another one over. They went to work as a clerk. Let's pull one of these Adonians over. They went to work as a clerk. Yeah, they went to work somewhere there too, so I'm going to kind of pull these over. Now it's saying unemployed, so I've basically filled all the roles that I can do with them. So I'm going to close that. And so now that planet's going to be a lot more efficient because I only have the 1 job open, and right now it's looking for a Praetorian Guard. And I could go over here and look for a Praetorian Guard on the planet that has them. There's quite a few of them here on Kittimer, so I'll pull one over here and fill that job. Praetorian Guard is pretty important. Help keep crimes down and other stuff like that. So see how I was able to improve the way that the jobs were being filled on that planet. I know that's pretty simple, but I didn't understand it. It took me a long time to understand it. So hopefully that helps some people who haven't seen this before. So let's go back to that colony again, where I was at. No, I can't remember which one I was on. Oh, crap. Which one was it? This one? Did we just build those? Well, if it was this one, yeah, it was this one. So we built those. Remember we had unemployed pops here? Well, they're now employed. So we can do that. Now, another couple of things that I want to point out to new players. Anytime you're going to build something, you can mouse over it, whether it's a ship, a building, a district, whatever. it tells you the upkeep cost. You can actually see that there. This one costs 2 energy. Pay attention to those upkeep costs, especially early in the game. You're going to be short of resources. Don't run yourself out over the skids. And we'll give another demonstration here too on how you can handle some things. Look right now over here on spread. Spread is basically like how much capability do you have to administer a large empire, and how much are you actually using. So like right now I have 606 of 590, which means I'm kind of beyond my skis. We're having a hard time managing, and it's costing me a lot of extra leader upkeep and tradition cost, all that kind of stuff. So you don't want to be ahead and have a spread like this. So I need to increase the administrative capacity of the empire, and that can be done in multiple ways. I'm not worried about debris right now. That can be done in multiple ways. One easy way is administrative buildings. And for instance, I could probably take one of these new colonies, like I just took Akamar off of the Cardassians, because they're a bunch of jerks, and it was hilarious. So we have jobs available here, by the way, too. I'm going to build an administration office.
Construction
It's going to take 110 days or so to take place. The administration office can provide a couple of supervising officials. It looks like 2, and then they provide administrative capacity. Also, if you build a city, no, they produce trade values. My bad. I was thinking one of these produced it. It could be the supervising officials produce the administrative. So these districts right here, the civil forum districts, can also produce it. But I find that the administration office is a good building for it, and I'll kind of demonstrate how that works too as we get into it. So we're going to build that administration office. Let's look at resettlement here. So let's take a look at our jobs. We need 2 Praetorian guards here and a couple of senators. So we're kind of missing some stuff. You can see our planet stability is kind of poor because we just took over this planet. People don't exactly like us. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of mess. And if we bring in the Praetorian guard that it wants, that probably will help a lot. Now, I just pulled some from Kittimer. Let's see if there's another planet that actually has some of these Praetorian guards. See, there's 2 there. I'm trying to remember some of my older planets to see, and I think it needs to be a planet where we've had like a military building on it. Let's take a look here.
Successful.
Yeah, I've got a couple of Praetorian guards there. I guess I have the most on Kittimer because of the buildings that are there. Go back and look here. We had Centurions. Here's our Praetorian guard. Yeah, we've got 5 of them here. That's quite a few, and I think I just need a couple. So I'm gonna move 1 Romulan and 1 Vulcan Praetorian guard. So hopefully now we've got a couple of working Praetorian guards here. They may have taken other jobs when I moved them over here. I think they did, actually. That's annoying. Let's move another Praetorian guard over. There we go. We actually had someone take on the Praetorian guard job. So I moved some of them from that other planet to there, and you can see immediately it has an impact on the planet stability. We finished the administration office, by the way, and some of the folks started filling those jobs as well. So now we have more administrative capacity, and looky there, we fixed the problem. So again, hopefully this helps you. If you need a certain building, if you need to know like, hey, what should I build? You can always come over here into the building and click it, and then you can sort up here by government, resource, manufacturing. You can kind of look at the different buildings, then just mouse over them, take a look at the upkeep, take a look at the type of workers you need, and then every now and then just make sure you come over here to your planet management and do your best to kind of move these unemployed populations around. Look at high crime, like on Akamar, we're still dealing with that. There's buildings, by the way, that can help with that as well. Like if I go over here to Akamar, holding cells.
Research
so
finalized.
Whenever people are committing crime, obviously we can put them in jail. So I can build this holding cell, and Praetorian guards can work there to reduce crime, and they also produce officers, and they spawn defense armies. So it's pretty helpful. We need officers for our starships. So I'll go ahead and build a holding cell here, and that will help reduce that crime and help, eventually settle this place down. But yeah, it's been very interesting with the Romulans. A couple other quick tips when it comes to fleets. I struggled with this initially, but you can determine like the different size and classes of ships that you have in your fleet. This weight right here, see where it says 55 is 60? 60 is the total command skill that my officers have, so I have up to 60 points of fleet. Each of these types of ship has a cost associated with it. So if I go, by the way, when you're on the screen, if you click right here into the fleet manager, you can take a look at these fleets. So let's go to the 7th fleet, and you can see that I have these tier 4, 3, and 2 ships making up the fleet, and you can see how many I'm aiming for in each one. And in fact, you can see that I'm missing one right here, so I could reinforce this fleet and bring in that extra ship that it needs. And make it full again. But you can adjust the numbers here and try and get it up to 60, as close as you can get to it, and that'll maximize, or yeah, I say 60. It's going to be different depending on which, what level your commanders are and what research you've done. So I should specify that. So, Lux Neutrino Battery. Sorry, I'm just queuing up some more research. You always want to keep your research going too. That's another tip for folks early. But yeah, always queue up that research. Anyway, let's get back into the fleet management real quick. Planets management, fleet manager right here. So you can hit the minus button to have less of a certain type, plus on the other, and again, try and get it close to your score. And then that way you can quickly hit the reinforce button, and you're able to bring those ships in. And it'll even tell you down here that if you look at all your fleets, it says they need to be reinforced with 52 ships, and how much it's going to cost me. I would need, 7,000 something. But I mean, I could go ahead and do that. I can just hit reinforce all because I have the resources right now. And so there you go. It's going to start producing all the ships I need to fill up my fleets to the way that I have spec'd them out, essentially. And you should work on that spec and kind of decide what you need. You could just go all heavies. I like having some light ships in there to absorb fire kind of on the front end so that my heavies don't just take all the fire. And then each of those ships kind of has a different weapons payload. And again, you can tinker with that in the ship designer. Do it yourself. If you uncheck this auto-generate, you can do your own designs and mess with that too. Anyway, hopefully this gives you some tips with the Romulans. Be guarded against the Cardassians and the Klingons early. They will try to put you down, in my experience. Now, the game is different every time, though. I've never had the same experience every single time. So, but do be guarded. They are very vicious sometimes, and you will fight them eventually, whether or not it's early or whether it's late.
Reinforcements.
I promise
inbound.
you will fight them. So in any case, like I said, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. I will try to answer those for you. I'm not a pro, but I might have learned something and be able to share it with you. If you think I'm missing something, let me know as well. I would appreciate any feedback you have. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. Hope to see you all soon in some more content.